are live. Let me make sure my mic's turned up, man.
Yeah, sounds good.
It sounds good to you, but it's not all the way up. Oh, there we go. There we go. All
What's up,
right.
Zeke?
What's up, Zeke?
The best nephew here because he's first.
Salute. On time. Okay. On
That's
time.
right.
What's is in here, man? Y'all came early today. Everybody wants to talk about the draft. Everybody wants to talk about the draft. We got AD in the house says, "What's good? What's going on, people? What's going on?
What's
Salute.
up,
Salute
Adrian?
to you. Pay the bills in the house. Shout out to you." We got Just Aloe in the house. Says, "Evening LBHT crew. I hope everyone is doing well. Lamar's new motto is fine. I'll do it myself." Hey, we're gonna talk about it. Some of you left some comments saying, "Yeah, do it yourself." You know, that's what you're supposed to do. Slim Smith, what's going on? Says, "What's good, everybody?" Now I just heard my doorbell ring. I ordered pizza for these kids. Okay, I want to see if anybody actually answers the door. They be in their room. They be on their phones. That door will ring and nobody will answer it. I got my headphones on. I can hear it. I
I
think I
know
heard
David.
Jacob just go answer it.
I know David would answer it.
Yeah. Yep. Go ahead and get it. Jacob, the only one that heard it. I ordered it for his brother. What's up, Slim Smith? Salute. Osmond's in the house. What's going on?
What's up,
Salute.
Oscar?
All right, we're gonna get some more shots here in a minute, man. We still gotta do our opening. Um, I didn't get a chance to screenshot some of these comments, but I'll read some of them. We're gonna react to some of these comments that y'all be leaving on our draft grades because you do this every year, and it's about time we start reminding you guys of what you say from year to year. All right, but we're gonna discuss that. We're gonna have a fun show. We're gonna talk more about the draft. We'll talk some NBA playoffs.
Ooh, I don't think we have
What
time for that.
time for what?
NBA playoffs.
What?
It's not going great. I don't think we've got time to discuss that.
Are the Lakers aren't playing right now?
Here they are.
They're playing right now.
They're getting ready to start. I don't know if they've started yet, but they
Okay.
are about to play. I just saw a certain someone arrive at the arena, and I was hoping he would not show. Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, he's great, man. He's great. This might be the turning point for him. We'll see. All right, we're going to discuss this, man. You ready to drop this intro?
Yeah, always.
Let's do it. Okay. What is going on, LBHT crew? B, what is going on?
Adrian says Lakers play at 10, so we safe for now.
Yeah, you safe, man. You
For
safe.
now.
It's all good. It's all good. Don't even...
All I'm saying is, I understand that they're probably not going to come back from down 3-1, and that's fine. The Timberwolves are a good young team. That's great for them. Happy for Anthony Edwards. Austin Reeves better be on another team in October.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss what the Lakers really need to compete, because I mean they had the top two talents on the team, but like you got to have depth, right? You got to have a bench. The bench matters, and they ain't got one.
They definitely do not.
So, yeah, we're going to discuss that, man. Look, we put out a couple videos. One of them, I'll say this: the majority of you pretty much agree with us on the draft. We did not give it a bad grade, but the way some of y'all were in there crying in the comments, literally, you would think we gave them an F. We didn't give them an F. All right, we gave the Ravens a solid C plus. We gave the Panthers an A. And
I didn't give the Ravens anything. I did not.
Okay, my bad. I gave him a C plus. I don't think I gave the Panthers a grade either, but you gave him an A. But we can we're in different places, okay? And we'll discuss
Yeah,
how we
we're in a
grade
place where
things.
we have a great GM and he does a great job at the draft, and you're in a different place.
Let's slow it down.
I mean,
Let's slow it down because
we all gas no brakes over here, and I don't
I
know what you're
mean,
talking about.
literally 7 days ago, Dan was not great. It was Dan better get it right.
And guess what he did? He got it right.
Yeah, yeah, he got it right, but it's got to lead. It's got to lead the wins ultimately. But
Hey, players got to play. All right, that's a Baltimore favorite, right?
let me get some shout outs here. Killer says, Ola, he meant Jose. What's going on, Killer?
He called you Hodor.
Hold on. And mucho gusto, Brodny.
Nice to meet you, Cam.
We got Jay in the house. Says, I just want everybody to know Panthers about to be back up.
That's right.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Where's my man? I got all right. We gotta get to the new setting. I had all these sound bites before. All right. Put the word out. We back up. Okay. Hashtag keep pounding. Tracy, what's going on? Tracy says, hello, friends. Hope everyone's doing okay. We're great now. Glad to see you.
Tracy.
Thanks for coming through, Tracy. Let's see. Just how I said, what kind of pizza? Don't hold me in suspense. It's Domino's. It's Domino's. It's whatever. It's not my favorite, but they like it. Danny D is here. What's going on, Danny? He says, welcome to the chat, everyone. Hit the like and subscribe button, kings and queens. Super chat is available. Cash App, $ LBHT Show. Thank you so much, Danny. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. And also, all you trolls, watch yourself. Okay? Watch yourself. Danny D is in the chat. You better be on your best behavior. Deshaun86, what's good? Salute. Appreciate you coming through. Our guy Coach is here from Sip to Tally Films. What's going on, Coach?
What's up, Coach?
We had the best time streaming the draft with Coach, Chris, Carrie was there, Hendo was there. That was a lot of fun. As always, this is a yearly thing now. We always have fun. And go check out Coach's channel for a more in-depth analysis and breakdown of these players. Okay, don't just listen to just we're just guys just talking up here. Okay, we don't know football, but this guy knows football. All right, and great breakdowns too. Great breakdowns. So go check him out. Game Too Easy was good. Salute says, what's up? How y'all day going? It's going great. Going great. And Rob in the house. Salute. We got Bazel. Salute, Bazel. He says, hola. This thing gotta go faster. I don't like this thing. There's so many things we got. I'm just, this is where I'm at today. I'm complaining about this. Jeremy's in the house. Salute to Jeremy. We got our guy Hendo from the Roll Pod. Salute. I be saying, what's good? What's good? Thanks for coming through. Says, what up, LBHT? I survived the first round meltdown and settled in with the rest of the 1,000 picks. All right, we're going to discuss it, man. Kim's in the house. What's up, Kim? Salute to you. That damn Dub 20 says, what up, gang? Harbaugh still employed, huh? Yeah, he ain't going anywhere. We love Harbs here. Okay, we all love Harbs. Yeah. All right, y'all. It's Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Hope your week is going well. But if not, hopefully it gets better starting right now. We are streaming live on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. So wherever you're watching us, make sure you hit that like button, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you're listening to the audio form of this, we put it out on Wednesday or Thursday. In fact, Thursday at lunchtime. So hope you're enjoying your lunch break. Make sure you give us a 5-star review. Also, LBHTShow.com. We are very close to putting out that newsletter. We did say it was going to be sometime this week. We weren't quite sure. It's still going to be this week. So go to LBHTShow.com, sign up for it. Just put your email in that box. All right, we ain't going to spam you with newsletters every day. It's going to be like a weekly or bi-weekly thing. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So sign up today. All right. We're going to get this show started because we have a lot to talk about. And we got the overtime show, which you can find on our Patreon, patreon.com/LBHT Show. All right. But first, we like to start every show with a Black History Fact. Oh, we can just do that. Okay. Or the Black History Fact. What does that say from Adrian?
It says just chipping in for the pizza. Save my slice.
Salute. Salute.
Thank you,
Appreciate
man.
that. Appreciate it. All right. We like to start every show with a Black History fact. And B and Akole have a Black History fact for you.
This week on the LBHT Black History Fact, Sarah J. Garnett was a trailblazing educator and ardent advocate for racial and gender equality during a time when barriers to both were deeply entrenched in American society. Born in Brooklyn in 1831, Garnett embarked on her teaching career at the African Free School in Williamsburg in 1854. Her dedication and undeniable talent led her to become the first African-American woman to hold a principalship in the New York City public school system. Over a remarkable 37-year tenure as the principal of Colored School Number 4, she not only delivered quality education to countless students, but also forged a path of academic excellence in an environment frequently marred by segregation and discrimination. Garnett's influence, however, extended well beyond the classroom. Deeply committed to the fight for equal rights, she became a formidable force in the women's suffrage movement. In Brooklyn, she founded the Equal Suffrage League, creating a platform for Black women to advocate for their right to vote and play a more active role in civic life. Her leadership extended to a national stage as she took on responsibilities as the Superintendent of Suffrage for the National Association of Colored Women, ensuring that the voices of Black women were heard in pivotal conversations about civil rights. Her personal life also intertwined with her activist endeavors. Married to Henry Highland Garnett, a noted abolitionist, Sarah's home life was steeped in a commitment to justice and reform. Even after retiring from education in 1900, her passion for equality carried her to international forums, such as the Universal Races Congress in London in 1911, where she engaged with global movements for racial unity and human rights. In summary, Sarah J. Garnett's life and accomplishments embody a powerful legacy of resilience, leadership, and unwavering commitment to equality. Her dual roles as an educator and activist not only transformed the lives of her students, but also helped lay the groundwork for the broader civil rights movements that would follow. Her story remains an enduring inspiration for those dedicated to fighting for justice and advancing educational opportunities for all.
All right. Salute to Sarah J. Garnett. That's a dope Black History fact right there. B, look who's here.
Who's here?
It's God's child.
What's up, guys, child?
What's going on?
My
Long time
goodness.
no see. God's child is one of the first people to ever comment on our live stream. And he's
Man,
still
good to see you.
here. Good to see you. Good to see you, man. Always good to see you. Glad you're here, man. Big Cuz in the house. What's good? Appreciate you coming through.
What's up, big cuz?
ZTB XTV. That's a name. Okay. Says, so you're saying you guys at the end of the bar? What up, LBHT? Yeah, that's us. They're the guys at the end of the bar. You know, man, I can't stand Harbaugh. I can't like that comment. I know we turned that into a joke, but you know, he was trying to throw shade at you.
Yeah.
He's trying to throw shade at you and us and anybody that criticizes the team in any kind of way. He was trying to say that you're nothing, right? Like, that's why I can't stand about him. He can't take any type of criticism whatsoever. He also doesn't take accountability for when he messes up.
Right.
I don't like John Harbaugh. Salute to MGT Sports. Appreciate you coming through. Yes, yes. All right. All right, let's just start. Let's start with the Ravens because y'all had a lot to say. You lucky I didn't have time to screenshot this stuff. You're lucky I ain't had time to screenshot this. Look, it is what it is. I gave the Ravens a C plus draft. Okay. Coach said who threw shade? John Harbaugh.
He's talking about
John
the
Harbaugh.
people at the end of the bar comment.
Yeah. Yeah, that was directed towards us, right? Because we probably question, hey, why aren't you running the ball more than 4 times in a playoff game? Just curious, Guys at the end of the bar over there, they think they know everything. Hey, why are you drawing up a pass play to Ronnie Stanley at the goal line when it's 2nd and goal and we have Derrick Henry? Just curious. I guess you guys know more football than I do. My bad. You got it.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, but I gave it a C plus. Right. Now, we broke it down in the video, but you guys, when you hear C plus, it's like, oh, you're crazy. It's A plus. I saw a few of those in our comments. A plus. All right. Well, let's break it down. We have 11 draft picks. Okay. The first 2 you really like. We think they'll be quality players. You and I agree. Malachi Starks and Mike Green are going to be quality players. Right? Cool. What else? Emory Jones. Some of us think he can eventually be the starter at guard. Right? He has the potential. Is he going to be a day 1 starter? I don't think so. I will love it. Right? I think he's probably just more naturally talented than Voorhees. I love it if he can go in there and just beat out Voorhees. I feel a little bit more comfortable about the O-line. But see, Coach said C plus. Yeah, C plus. All right. I mean, all right. So 2 guys for sure starters, and you think they're going to be really good players.
I wouldn't say they're for sure starters.
My bad. You're right. I wouldn't say that either. I take that back. But good players. Right? Emory Jones could be a good player. What's after that? Do I still have that list up here? Let me see if I still have it. 4th round. No, I do have it. Do I have? Oh, you know what? Let me bring it up here so you can all see it. We can all go over this together. Look at that. It's so small because we drafted so many players. But 4th round, Teddy Buchanan. Okay, again, maybe he starts over Simpson, right? But he can contribute. Cool. After that, Carson Vincent, we don't know. Bilal Cone, don't know. Tyler Loop, probably not. If Justin Tucker can make his kicks in preseason, Justin Tucker is going to be our kicker. Tyler Loop is not. LaJohntay Wester, I like LaJohntay Wester. I saw him play a lot at Colorado. What's he going to do on the team? I don't know. Aeneas Peebles, you guys like him? Maybe he makes the team and gets some rotation. I don't know. Robert Longerbeam, never heard of him. Garrett Dillinger, never heard of him. All right. Like those 2, let's just go ahead and say they're not making the team. They're gone out the gate. Okay. Kicker, gone. Bilal Cone, he might make the team because, we've already used up all the eligible rookie years for what's his name? Who's the cornerback? Why am I blanking on his name? Not Tampa, the other one. Jalen Armour Davis. I don't know. I forgot his name. Jalen Armour Davis. They're not gonna bring him back, so somebody's got to fill that he's developing role. Okay. I don't know. What do you guys see here? Who's going to be? How many of these guys do you think are going to be quality players for us? Not just make the team. Who's going to play for us? That's what I want to know. And be honest about it. I can see the first 4 playing. Right? If Simpson just isn't good enough to hold it down, right? I can see Teddy Buchanan getting that job. But we drafted 11 players. So out of 11 players, 4 you can see actually suiting up and playing. Like not special teams. I mean like contributing. That how's that an A+?
Yeah.
And let's not miss the let's address the elephant in the room. Their first pick was a bad pick. Right? You don't draft we drafted a safety in their first round way too high in Hamilton. Good player, cool. And then we came back in the first round again and drafted Malachi Starks. We drafted 2 safeties in the first round. We're the only team doing that, and that's not a good thing. There were plenty of safeties available.
Mm-hmm.
And if we didn't draft Malachi Starks there, he's probably going to be there in the second round. And if you want him in the second round, move up and get him. We have 11 picks.
Right. And that's my issue with it. Excuse me. Their biggest needs going into the draft were starting guards and O-line depth, and then depth in the interior D-line. And they waited as long as possible to address the O-line. They didn't do that until late in the third round with Emory Jones. And then they didn't address the interior D-line until the end of the 6th round. And I know a lot of people seem to like Aeneas Peebles. Like, I'm not saying that the dude can't play at all or anything like that, but a guy who was taken at the end of the 6th round is by no means a lock to make your roster. And, I mean, I would not really be expecting much of anything from that guy, at least next year, if he even does make the team. Them not drafting an interior D lineman until that point says to me that they're going to look in free agency to get a veteran or two and to kind of shore up that position. Because otherwise, they should have been hitting the interior D line much earlier than the end of the 6th round. But it's just the lack of flexibility from the organization that bothers me year in and year out. You know that whether your defense is great or average or bad, it's the offense that has to get you through these playoff games, and you never really react to it. You had a defense a couple years ago that allowed 17 points a game, and that wasn't good enough for you to win in the playoffs. Now, even if these guys hit, you're not going to be better than that 17-point-a-game defense. You're hoping that these guys will come in and make, game-changing plays in big-time situations. One, you shouldn't really be looking to rookies for that. 2, it's pretty difficult to actually draft that. And the other part of it is, now you're saying you use your first and second round pick essentially for 4 or 5 plays, right? Versus going out and getting a starting guard who's going to affect your offense on every play. So I don't like that at all. And it speaks to you going back to the same exact philosophy. He said, hey, let's go sign an old wide receiver in DeAndre Hopkins and just run it back and see if we can do it.
So I'm kind of going through the comments on the video. I'll read a couple of these. And shout out to Coach. I got this idea from you. He went back and read some of his comments from the draft, afterwards and kind of respond to it. I'm not going to screenshot these. I ain't gonna call out people. But, this guy says, I don't agree with your take of Starks. I think we get much better on the back end immediately when that was the Achilles heel last year. Solidifying the DB room will create more turnovers and better gameplay. He reminds me of a better Chuck Clark, more athletic but very smart.
Here's the thing with that comment. One, they had a much better secondary a couple years ago under Mike McDonald, and they didn't force more turnovers. That's the first part. Second, they're going to be much better than what? Because the Ravens were the worst pass defense in the league through a little more than half of the season.
Yeah.
The end of the season, the second half of the season, they were not the worst pass defense in the league. So you're saying they're going to be much better than the second half unit, or they're going to be much better than the first half unit? Because they were already much better than the first half unit in the second half of the season.
Yeah, like you think they're going to create turnovers? Like, first of all, safety isn't the Achilles heel, right? Like, do y'all not like Adarius Washington anymore? You know what I'm saying? Like everybody
Not when
was
it's new shiny.
right, right. All I heard was how much better the defense played at the end of the year. So why do you need Malachi Starks? And honestly, like you said, it's not guaranteed that he goes out there and starts. Darius Washington played well. He knows the defense, right? And the thing about the defense, like Marcus Williams ain't out because of lack of talent, right? He just wasn't on the same page with guys. That's all that is. He's not a bad player. He played bad, right? It's a communication thing. So maybe I'm not saying he can't take the job. You expect the first round pick to take the job, but they're big on communication. They're big on reading plays and all that stuff. He may not be able to do that out the gate. Darius Washington might just keep his job, and Malachi Starks will have to come in, on certain packages.
Yeah. Coach says new blank better than old blank every day of the week.
Yeah,
Which explains why people are so down on TJ Tampa when he was the steal of the draft last year, right? But now you got new steals of the draft. Now it's Aeneas Peoples, that guy that was picked 34th in the 6th round. He's the new steal of the draft, and if and when he either doesn't make the team or doesn't play and doesn't make an impact, people will forget about him next year too.
yeah. We had two positions of need, and this is another thing. I just miss me with this. Miss me with this if you're in that category of, oh look, Falele's the starter, get over it. No. Like, yes, I know he's a starter. I don't have to accept it, right? Or I can accept it, but I can disagree with it, right? I don't have to sit there and be like, oh yeah, he's gonna be great. No, he sucked, right? Voorhees was not good enough to keep his job. He got an opportunity, got hurt, and then they're like, on second thought, you stay there once he got healthy. You stay right where you're at. We like you in that rotational role, right? But somehow we think he's going to turn into what? Do you think these guys are going to be? Do any of these guys have potential to be all pro? Right? Like ask yourself that. Do any of these guys have potential to be all pro? Of course, you don't think that.
Here's the problem that I have also with Ravens fan base and organization. It's a couple comments here. We got B Cam saying Ravens were going interior O line and D line in rounds 1 and 2 until Starks and Green became available. Based on what? I mean, are you saying this based on because you heard it in an interview? Because they're well documented liars, but that's fine. And then this comment here from Jay Coop says the only other option in the first round would have been Josh Simmons if he turns out to be healthy. Outside of him, no one else was worthy of round 1 but Malachi or a cornerback. But if they didn't evaluate Simmons, I understand. You understand that they are not obligated to stay at the pick that they have coming into the draft, right? Carolina got a fringe first round edge rusher in the 2nd round because they moved up when they saw a guy might be available that they liked. Baltimore has 11 draft picks. They don't have 11 roster spots. So if they were really intending to go interior O-line, they could have taken some of those draft picks, moved up, and gotten the O-lineman that they liked. They didn't have to wait until 27.
Donovan Jackson went 3 spots ahead of us. In fact, I think didn't they trade up there to get him?
I don't remember.
No. I'm looking at it. No, they didn't trade up there to get him. But that's 3 spots ahead of us, right? Like you can move up. In fact, they did that. They do that in later rounds all the time, right? It's easy to make trades in the later rounds, but in the first round, nope, we can't move up. We can't move up 3 spots. Everybody was trading in the first round. Everybody was giving their picks up for a trade. We could have made something happen if they really wanted to go interior O-line. And if they didn't evaluate Josh Simmons, then they failed.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing this whole time? Coach evaluated a bunch of these players, and coach works a full-time job, right? He's got a family. These guys, this is what they do. We need to evaluate Josh Simmons.
And I'm not gonna bash him for not taking Josh Simmons if they said they weren't comfortable or if they weren't comfortable with his medicals, right? But he's not the only O-lineman who's available in the draft.
No. Yes, I don't. I don't accept that. Like he's not. None of those guys are worth taking. Okay. So let me ask you this: if nobody else was worth taking in the first round? Like, what do you mean? Full time, right? Full time. That's right, coach. um, what does that mean? Or the people that say that nobody was worth taking in the first round. What does that mean? So if they got somebody in the first round, they're not good enough.
Well, look, they said last year that there wasn't any O lineman worth taking in the first round. They got a starting right tackle in the second round. He was worth taking in the first round. They got lucky that he fell to them in round 2.
Well,
right?
let's talk about that. So that's what I'm getting to. I want to hear the response. Coop says I truly think they gave up after round 3, but I can understand your arguments. But that's what I'm getting to. If you think none of those guys are good enough to go in the first round, that means you don't like you don't think they're starting quality, right? So why, when we get to the third round and get Emory Jones, you think that's a good pick?
Right.
How's that going to help us?
Well, value. Value shows up on the field, right?
What's the other guy's name? Vincent.
Yeah.
How is Vincent going to help us in the 6th round? If he's good enough to start, if he's good enough to start, why couldn't we grab him in the first round?
Because he's not good enough to start. But people do that all the time. It's like, okay, well, this guy's not good enough, but we got him in the 4th, so now he's better.
Yeah.
I did that years ago with Deontay Brown, huge guard from Alabama, right? Couldn't play at all, but he's real big. He's real strong. You say, hey, you know what? Maybe we can coach him up. And they got him in, I believe it was the 6th. Yeah. And everybody lost their mind. They're like, great pick. Well, no, he still can't block. just because you gave up something that you feel like, isn't worth much to get him doesn't all of a sudden make him a better player.
Now, don't even second pick, Mike Green. I got no problem with that. Right. I wouldn't have had a problem. I mean, I still would have said you need to go guard over edge. Those aren't positions that we need. But had they drafted him in the first round, all right, there's more positional value there. Fine. You excellent player. You get him in the 2nd round. Fine. Cool. And again, Malachi Starks, I think is going to be a good player. It's not. I think we got a bad player there, but we all recognize that we need help at O-line, and we all recognize that we're expecting the offense to win us games, not defense. As much as y'all say this all the time. Oh, defense. We this is a defensive team, and we got to contribute to the defense. All we do is invest in the defense, and we never expect them to win us a game. You want them to play well. You want them to play good enough. That's all you want, and you don't need to keep spending 1st round picks and $100 million contracts for a defense to play good enough. You need to get the right players that fit a good system with a good coach. That's what you need. Mm-hmm. All right. Spend your talent, your draft picks and your money on talent for your MVP quarterback.
Right. Out here drafting safety so that Kyle can be in a better position. Makes no sense.
And then they're not going to want to pay Kyle.
Right. The guy who wins games in Baltimore is Lamar Jackson. He's the one who moves the needle. If Lamar Jackson isn't playing, there's not a single one of you in this chat right now or watching this replay right now who thinks that the Baltimore Ravens are a contender without Lamar Jackson. None of you think they're even a playoff team without Lamar Jackson. So how are you going to sit back and defend them drafting defense in the 1st and 2nd rounds and not doing something to help Lamar Jackson? You don't have one of the best wide receiver room in the league. You have a pretty good one, an okay one. You don't have the best O-line in the league. It's not very good at all. Now, they may be the best in the running back room. I'll give them that. But that's not for long. Derrick Henry's not going to be there for much longer, and this is a great running back class. They didn't go running back there. So I don't understand why, if that Lamar Jackson is what wins you games, and we know that because he's been out. What was it 13 games and gone 4-9 without him? So you know he's what wins you games. Why are you celebrating supporting the defense instead of Lamar Jackson? I mean, we're going to talk about Carolina, but you look at the Panthers, they know that the defense isn't going to win them anything. Even if you keep on building and building and building and building and they make it to the top 5, the defense isn't what's going to win you anything. That's why you trade future picks and players to get up to number 1 to get your franchise quarterback. And then you have to support them, right? You can find players at any point in the draft. And we hear that all the time. You can get O-linemen later. Oh, you can get a wide receiver later. Yeah, you can get these safeties and edge rushers later too. You can get interior D linemen later. You can get off-ball linebackers later. What you need to do is you need to take the most valuable picks, the picks that are most likely to hit, and use those supporting the most important player on your team. And if you don't know, again, the most important player on your team is the quarterback, because that's the most important player in the sport.
Yeah, thanks. I ain't gonna call this guy out because it's been a few times he's been in our comment section throwing shots. This directed at you, B. Why aren't the Panthers? What are the Panthers doing, sir? It seems the Ravens can never do anything right for you two. The Panther fan absolutely doesn't know football. It was Malachi Starks as a freshman who had the pick 6 to steal the national championship for Georgia. Shaking my head.
I'm assuming that's in response to me saying that he only had, I think, 7 picks, I think it was, for his entire college career. So I don't know if you're drafting a playmaker at that point.
Wait. Did we? I'm confused. I don't watch a lot of college football. Did Malachi Starks come out as a freshman?
Don't believe he did.
Oh, okay, because he referenced something that happened in his freshman year. Did he come out as a sophomore?
I don't believe he did.
No. Junior. He came out as a junior? So that play he referenced was 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm. And it was one play.
All right. So. Cool. There you go. It's that's all it takes.
I mean, I saw Kyle Hamilton make forced turnovers a couple of years ago. Why do you need more playmaking? Right. Hey, Odafe Owe, I've seen him force fumbles. He forced a fumble on Pat Mahomes. Y'all remember in his rookie year? Why do you need more playmaking?
Jay said, they should definitely be a monster truck announcer. Really need him to say Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. All right, man. Let's bring up Adrian, man. He wants to chime in on this, but yeah, man. Look, C+ ain't bad, but like let's just be real. Like you guys do this every year. You get caught up on the flashy stuff. It was only a few years ago you guys did this at Owe. You don't remember. I'm too tired to go back and look through all the comments. But when we said we didn't like that draft, you guys, not everybody in the chat, but you know who I'm talking about. There's a lot of you guys out there that are going at us saying, "Oh, you guys are never happy. Oh, that was a great pick." He ran a 4.3 40, right? He ran a 4.3 40. You guys are crazy. We said no. You got a guy that's not ready to play in the first round. That's a bad pick. You got a cornerback who converted from a running back that's not ready to play yet. Now that actually turned out to be a good pick, but y'all hated him in the end.
Yeah,
which is ironic.
He's gone anyway. So
yeah, which is ironic. You guys end up hating him. The guys that we said were bad picks, we actually still say keep them, and y'all say get rid of them, right? Like you guys gave that draft an A+. What would you give it now?
Right.
Yeah. All right. You ready for Adrian? Or?
No, give me another minute here.
Okay. All right. But we do this every year. Every year is a first round pick, or is a A+.
Mm-hmm.
Every year is an A+ with you guys, right? We can do no wrong, and if we do anything less than an A, then we're haters, right? These 11 picks, this ain't the first time we've had 11 picks either. Okay, so when we say what are these guys going to do, don't hit me with they could be this, they could be that. Yeah, and I hope they are. But the reality is they're probably not going to be. They're
Right.
probably not going to be. So don't give this draft an A+ when you can only name 2 guys for sure are going to contribute. That's it. You only know 2. The rest of these guys, it's, well, he could do this. He could do that. That means you ain't got no faith in him.
What's going
All
on?
right. What's up, Adrian?
Yo, what it is, fellas? LBHT crew in the building.
Yes,
Y'all know what it
indeed.
is.
Yes. What's up, Nitro? Let me get a shot to Nitro real quick. Says they be coming for my head. Hey, you that's how we are over here. You good, B?
Yeah.
Did we bring him up?
Hang on 1 second. It should have come up. It says it's syncing.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's Evie Mux. Hold on 1 second, Adrian. Yeah, this is what they are, man. All right, I think they can see Adrian. We can't. I don't know why we can't see Martin. Can you guys see Adrian? Can you hear Adrian? Say something, Adrian.
Yeah, can y'all hear me?
Okay. Hendo say he's been there. Okay, he's there. Ravens don't have a Bill Belichick. That's right, Auden. That's right. Okay, he's up. They hear him. All right. Well,
They had
we
a
can hear
great
you.
defensive coach, and then they refused to fire John Harbaugh so they could keep him.
Cool. All right. Everybody can hear Adrian. All right, Adrian. So you agreed with my grade C+.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
This whole notion of best available player is something that I guess EDC and the Ravens brass have been holding firm to for a long time. And I just feel like that shouldn't be the philosophy of a team that may be a couple pieces away from winning a championship. You got to fill the needs that we had first. I felt like they just let whoever fell to them be the draft pick. And Malachi Starks was projected to be there at 27 for the Ravens for the longest time. Pretty much everybody had him linked to us. And I think he's a great player. I've seen him make a lot of plays. However, I just don't feel like safety was as big a need as offensive guard was. I feel like defensive tackle was a bigger need as well. We didn't address either one of those needs with the first 2 picks. Now, I wasn't upset at the Green pick. He definitely fell to us because of off the field concerns. And if he's anything like his game tape, he could definitely help the Ravens defense and help us get to the quarterback without sending as many blitzes, and that may help the back end as well. But we need to build in the trenches more. I feel like that's what Ozzie always did. He always had a strong offensive line. He almost always had a strong defensive line, and I feel like EDC just falls in love with linebacker, with safety, and he doesn't build well in the trenches. That's just my opinion on it. I felt like the grade that you gave Jose was solid, C+. We have a couple guys that I feel like will be starters in Starks and in Green, or at least see significant playing time. Beyond that, who was the guy we drafted in the 3rd round?
Emory Jones.
Yeah, Emory Jones. Looks like they're gonna move him over to guard, and maybe he'll be that swing tackle that we could use. However, I just feel like we need a starting left guard and a starting right guard, and we don't have one right now. Voorhees and Falele are not starters at the NFL level, and if you look at championship level teams, they're almost always strong on the O line and D line, and I feel like we're average on both sides of the ball there.
Yeah, I agree. Like, we keep saying we want to be like Philly. We ain't got the D line like Philly. We did. That's another thing too. Like, we need to help at D tackle for the interior D line. We ain't get it. Right.
I'm going to come out and come back in. I'll be back in a minute.
Okay. All right. Just maybe a couple comments here. Game 2 Easy says, I just hope Carson can get a chance. That man 6'7". Yeah, man, but size ain't a skill. Hold on a second. Let me see. Oh, I messed everything up. Hold on a second. Can y'all still see Adrian? That was me clicking things I shouldn't be clicking. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can change it on my side, Adrian. Hold on 1 second, y'all.
Oh, there I am. I see
Okay.
myself.
You can. All right. You can see yourself. You guys can see him. You can't see B. B's gonna come back in. Hopefully this will work. All right. All right. B plus draft. OJ Pimpson said the only reason you say that, and again, if you like Malachi Starks, which I do, and you think that's a good pick there, you're high on that pick. And getting somebody like Mike Green, talent wise, should be in the first round, high in the first round. It feels like you got two like high caliber players there, but you probably did, right? That's good. But you had 11 picks. Do we not evaluate the rest of the draft picks? And again, with a high caliber player, Adrian fell. Adrian's down. Adrian down. But if you get if you get somebody that you didn't need, like, okay, he's the best player at his position. What does that mean? So if we get kicker, there you go, B. If we get the greatest kicker of all time in the first round, we get this guy Loop in the first round, and we say, man, this guy could be better than Tucker. If he's gonna be better than him, are you guys saying cool? We got the best player at his position. If we go and get a punter in the second round and say, hey, this guy's the next Ray guy, are you guys cool with that? Best player at the position by far. Of course you're not. Of course you're not, because they're not as valuable of positions. That's safety, and it's not a need. We don't need a third safety. We want a third safety. We would like to have a third safety. By the way, we had two safeties on the team that until there's Taco Malachi Starks came up, we believed one of them will fill that spot and be that third safety that we need. But Malachi Starks is there. Let's go get him to help with protecting Lamar. Lamar can just get it, just get it how you get it with Voorhees. We hope he can stay healthy, and we hope he can turn into a solid player. Nobody thinks he's going to be a great player or even a really good player. Nobody thinks Falele is going to be great or really good. You just hope that they're solid, and that's good enough. That's what you really want for your offense? That's what you want for your quarterback? That's what you want for Derrick Henry?
Yeah. I mean, we've seen somebody left a comment on one of the videos that Baltimore's always been a defensive team and they need to stay that way. Why? They haven't won being a defensive team in, 13 years now? Mm-hmm. Like, you need to change with the times. But they refuse to do so, and so that's why we're here every single year talking about them losing the exact same way in the playoffs every single year, and telling y'all you need to bring more talent to the offensive side. And you're like, look at that corner though, look at that edge rusher though, look at that safety though, and then you get them, and then you come back the next year, and then you lose the exact same way, and you blame Lamar. And then you say, hey, man, we need to get better receivers. We need to fix this O-line. And then look at that edge, though. Look at that nose tackle, though. Look at that linebacker, though.
I asked somebody in the comments this as well, right? Because, that's the other thing, too. Why do you guys feel like you have to defend the EDC and Harbaugh every time we criticize them? Like, why? Like, what is he to you? Like, why do you feel like you have to take a bullet for this man? There was somebody in the comments that was saying we're too harsh on EDC and he's considered one of the best GMs in the league. Yeah, that's mostly off the strength of Ozzie. He hasn't done anything. He hasn't done anything at all. But if you feel like he's making the right moves, if you think this is a good draft, that's you?
Oh no, that was John.
If you feel like he did a good job, he filled positions of needs, I should say. You think he filled positions of need? We needed a safety. We needed edge rusher. Then are you finally going to admit that he's done a terrible job in the past? Because we drafted safeties. We drafted a ton of cornerbacks. We drafted a ton of edge rushers. But now you're saying we still need them? Right, we drafted a linebacker first round. We traded a second round pick for a linebacker, paid him $100 million. drafted another linebacker in the 3rd round. We still need a linebacker. We still need one. Like, but it's so is he doing a great job, or he's doing a pretty bad job, and he needs all 11 of these picks so he can hopefully hit on one? That's not a good strategy. How is that any different from me just going to play lotto every day? You know, I mean, there's more people playing the lotto, I guess, right? I have less of a chance, but it's the same strategy.
Game Too Easy says, I hope Todd improved his schemes. I do not want Lamar having to scramble because routes take too long to happen. I've got another solution for you.
Yeah.
Would you like to hear it? Maybe improve the people who are blocking in front of Lamar. You know, we talk all the time. People look at that Eagles and Chiefs championship game and they take the wrong lessons from it. It's not the Eagles overwhelmed Kansas City because they have a bunch of great edge rushers. Kansas City couldn't block. It was their O-line that was an issue. You know, Kansas City had good pass rushers too. I mean, Chris Jones wasn't wrecking shop in that game though, because the Eagles have the best or one of the best O-lines in the NFL. Right? And that's why Kansas City came back and drafted Josh Simmons in the 1st round. They drafted a tackle in the 1st or 2nd round last year also, because they know the important thing is to protect their quarterback, because they are only going to win as many games as Pat Mahomes wins for them. Baltimore can't seem to get that lesson through their head.
And also, why do we? Why? So everybody okay over there?
Yeah, everybody good.
Why do we always look at we look at the Eagles getting it done one time, we look at the Rams getting it done one time and say, see, defense. Kansas City has represented the AFC for 8 years. It's not 8 years, but like they always they've been an AFC championship for however long. Pat Mahomes has been the starter, but they're always in the mix. They're always right there. The road to the Super Bowl literally goes through Kansas City, right?
Yeah.
Why are we looking at them and saying we need to be like them?
Jeremy's saying the Eagles secondary is pretty good too. They are. They're good everywhere. But also they have, like I said, one of the best O-lines in the league. They have the best running back in the league, and they have one of the best wide receiver rooms in the league with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith too. I guarantee you.
And they got Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, without those things on offense, that secondary wouldn't mean anything.
Yeah, you think about how they value the linebacker position. They went out and got Bond, who turned into an All-Pro last year for, I think, $4 or $5 million. We're paying Roquan $20 million, who probably didn't produce as well as Bond did. But your linebackers are only going to be as good as your D-line. Unless you have generational talent at the position like a Ray Lewis or Mike Singletary type guy, you need good defensive linemen as well. I'm not opposed to the Ravens building on defense, but why do we always wait till 3rd round, 4th round, 5th round to draft a D tackle? We're going to go in and get good D tackles. They're most likely going to come at the top of the draft. And people always make the excuse, well, the Ravens are always drafting 25th, 26th, 27th because they're a playoff team. Why do other teams that draft in that position either find the guy that they want at the end of the draft, or they're bold enough and aggressive enough to trade up to get the guy that they want? We never trade up in the draft. Every time we make a trade, it's to trade back into more 6th round picks next year or this year. But it's never to try to get a guy that's 10 picks in front of where we have our draft slot at. And I just need to see more aggression from the Ravens. They just wait for guys to fall in their lap. You can't get an A+ like that, in my opinion, because they're only getting who's left on the board. They're not getting the guys that they really, truly should be targeting.
Facts. Like the Mike Green thing. They said they did their homework on them and they did an investigation and they're fine with what they came up with. I hope so.
But he fell in our lap though. That's what that was. That wasn't.
Yeah.
They made this bold move. The guy got drafted 20 spots after he was projected to go. You don't have to be a genius to do that. It's just this zero tolerance thing it only applies when they want it to apply. It doesn't apply to Justin Tucker. Doesn't apply to Mike Green. And I hope the kid isn't doing what they say he's been doing or what he's been accused of doing. Looks like a great talent, and maybe he just was wrongly accused or wrong place, wrong time. But that's not a great draft strategy. Wait for everybody to pass on a guy because he has off the field concerns and then be able to get him. If it pans out, I'll be the first to say I'm happy for it, and I'm not upset at that pick. I feel like that was arguably our best pick of the draft. But the Malachi Starks pick, I'm not in love with that pick like a lot of people are, because you got to pay Kyle Hamilton regardless. Darius Washington shored up the back half of that secondary last year, at least from the safety position. A third safety, I understand what people say is going to unlock Kyle Hamilton, allow him to play closer to the line of scrimmage, allow him to play like he did 2 years ago when he was an All-Pro. Last year, I'm not going to say he regressed, but he wasn't as good as he was 2 seasons ago. I get that. But the defense isn't going to get it done for us in January. The offense has to get it done. And the line is just not good enough when you play in January against the Kansas Cities against the world. And it wasn't good enough against Buffalo. Buffalo beat us on both sides of the trenches last year. They beat us with like 175 rushing yards. And we had less rushing yards than them, despite having the number 1 rushing offense in the league pretty much all season. So 5 or 6 years since 2019, we've had the number 1 rushing attack pretty much every season except for 1. In the playoffs, we can't run the football. Mm-hmm. Why can't we run the football, but we can run it for 17 weeks between September and December every year?
Being able to bully the other team with your offensive line and running whenever you want, they can't do anything about it. That is the type of football we were supposed to be playing, right? That's the type of football that we need to be able to continue to do in the playoffs. But we get exposed every year. We get exposed with that. We're not really a running team, and we're not trying to be a running team.
No. You know what I'd like to know, too? You look at Marcus Williams, who didn't play well last year, right?
No.
Eddie Jackson, he didn't play well. Brandon Starks had a really tough year. Not Starks, Brandon Stevens had a really tough year. They get rid of all of them, right? We're talking about cutting David Ojabo because he hasn't really panned out. Odafe Owe, you know, he had double-digit sacks last year, right? He's been okay. I'm not going to say that he's fully lived up to the draft position, but he's been fine. And everybody talking about getting rid of him. But then you turn around and you see Mark Andrews falling over backwards, dropping a 2-point conversion, and we're all, you know, like, nah, we got to bring Mark back. Mark's got to come back. Justin Tucker lost you 2 or 3 games. Nah, Justin's got to come back. We believe in Justin. Why is it when people fail at their jobs on defense, they get cut and replaced, and you fail at your job on offense? So, like, you know, give them a 7th chance.
Hey, shout out to Nitro from the One That Couldn't Show, man. Make sure you guys are subscribed to him as well. This is breaking news. For us, he says they didn't pick up Tyler Linderbaum's 5th-year option.
Well, yeah, they picked up Kyle Hamilton's. They declined Linderbaum's, but they're working out a long-term deal. I'm sure that.
So are you not allowed to? So you can't claim more than one?
No, they could, but what it was a combination of a couple of things. I think one, they said, you know, they grouped the O-line all together, so he's not a center when it comes to that. So he was going to be getting paid like a top tackle, a franchised tackle, and then I think that they probably just didn't. They want to stagger him and Kyle probably. Sure. You know, so they're going to try. I mean, Linderbaum's not going anywhere. They're going to sign for a long-term deal, and they picked up Kyle's, and he's going to get a long-term deal whenever he gets it. But I'm sure they just wanted to stagger it a little bit, and then, you know, not have that tackle franchise money for their center just in case, you know.
But what that means now is next year, Tyler Linderbaum potential free agent.
Well, I mean, unless they get the deal done now, you know. So
they get it done now. Cool, but potentially. Linderbaum, Faalele, not Voorhees. Voorhees is the year after, I believe, right? Or it's the other way around.
Yes.
Right. So you have two of your starting O linemen, free agents. You got Owe, a free agent. You got Tavis Robinson, a free agent. Like we have a lot of free agents coming up next year. And drafting Mike Green ain't a replacement for Owe. It's supposed to be Mike Green and Owe. That's supposed to be your guys. Because if you let Owe go, like Van Noy ain't gonna be here next year.
Well, now is when you're going to see, what Eric DeCosta really has as a GM in terms of manipulating the cap, because Lamar's cap is shooting way up next season.
Yeah,
I believe it's going over $70 million. So yeah, they're going to have to redo Lamar's deal, and like you said, they have a lot of free agents coming up. So we're going to have to see how he's able to manipulate that. I mean, I think that's more of what's his name, Sashi Brown's.
Travis
area.
Jones is another one, yeah.
But yeah, they got a lot of guys that they're going to have to juggle, and they may have to make some tough decisions. But we'll see how they navigate that.
Coach says forget Owe. Why are we so like this? This is what I'm talking about, though. This is Coach. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about, right? Like when Owe got drafted. I'm not saying like you disagree with us, but like, we're like, hey, bad pick. You're wasting a pick on a guy that needs to develop. But now he's starting to develop. Like I see, like what I'm saying, like I see flashes with him. I say bring him back, and let his best football's ahead of him. I'd rather he play it here, right? He doesn't have to be great. He just has to be solid, right? Pay him a decent contract. You got Mike Green on a rookie contract, and then you don't have to worry about edge rusher for a while. Because if we don't sign him, like who plays there?
Love West.
Are we drafting again? Are we drafting one in the first round?
Yes. I understand Owe had double-digit sacks, but those sacks do not come in dire needs. Those sacks came when they're up 30 or the game's already out of hand. They don't come on third down. Okay, well, everybody you get is not going to be T.J. Watt. And if you just keep cycling guys out, like as I said, you're going to be sitting here in April every year talking about, we need another edge rusher because we got rid of Owe because he didn't get every sack on third down. And then when Adisa Isaac doesn't do it, you're going to get rid of him, and you're going to say, man, we got to get another edge rusher in the first or second round. Like, some of your players aren't going to be great. Why don't you – Ravens fans need to look at the offense and say, hey, why isn't our third receiver great? Why aren't we great on the O-line? Why isn't our second running back great? But you don't do it there.
Bring his comment back up. If you can. He says those don't come in dire need, in dire need moments. Pretty much what he's saying, right? Mm-hmm. Which players are making plays on defense in dire need moments?
Right, and that's what I'm saying.
I must have missed that.
Like T.J. Watt does that, right?
No. I mean for us.
No.
Nobody.
T.J. Watt does that. Chris Jones does that. Myles Garrett does that. Like the guys that can do that are few and far between.
But what do they all have in common, though? B? Those guys are top 10 picks, pretty much.
Well, no, but I mean, Chris Jones wasn't a top 10 pick, right? No. And even T.J. Watt, I think he went like 15. I mean, he was close, but he went like 15, 17, somewhere in there. But I'm saying, like, the players that can do that are few and far between. You can't get rid of somebody because they're not making the play at the moment every time. Most players are not going to do that, Marlon Humphrey doesn't do that. You want to get rid of him? Matabike doesn't do that. We told y'all not to sign him, but you want to get rid of him now?
Look, I'll get Marlon. He made a couple of plays like that last year.
But he's been in the league for a decade.
Yeah. But I asked a question, but like Marlon's the closest one you could say is like, man, he did make some clutch plays.
Yeah, no, like, he's the closest one. But my point is, he doesn't do it consistently, and you're not going to fill your defense with 11 guys who do it consistently.
Roquan didn't make a single clutch play last year. Kyle didn't make a single clutch play last year. They made some good plays, but clutch plays? No.
I remember when that ball hit Kyle right in his goddamn face and he dropped it.
And I was
hit him in his face. It was a stomach. Okay? And I forgive him for that. Okay? Kyle's an excellent player.
Yeah, he is. And they should absolutely pay him. But I'm saying that guys don't do that on demand every time.
Yes, love. Yeah, that was clutch. That's exactly what I was thinking about too. That Steelers pick 6. That was clutch. Mm-hmm. That got me hype. That's the type of play I want to see from this defense, right? If Malachi Starks can come in here and do that, hell yeah. And that's another thing too. I gotta say too, right? Me and B have no problems saying when we're wrong about a player. In fact, if we're wrong about these players, that's a really good thing. That means they're a lot better than we expected them to be. They're contributing, and we're winning, right? How many times are we wrong? What I end up seeing most years is end of the year, we're like, told you. And we're not smiling. And you don't see us smiling about it either. We say, told you. And B always says, you're going to do the same thing next year.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're going to go into the offseason forgetting why you're out early. Like, wide receivers can't catch passes. Right? All our wide receiver core dropping passes. And B's like, you ain't going to go out there and address that. You're going to go defense. And we go defense. Right? We just do some patchwork, get some old veteran for the offense to say, oh, we fixed it.
Okay, so everybody's pointing out times when Marlon was clutch. Let me ask you all this: Do you remember a couple of years ago when the playoffs against a team called the Kansas City Chiefs when you were down 7 and it was 3rd and 9 and you needed to get off the field? Who made the clutch play to stop Marquez Valdez-Scantling from gaining 30 yards? Not a goddamn one of you.
Yeah, no, look.
Right, we're being selective with it.
Yeah, Marlon made some clutch plays. Who else? And nobody does it in the playoffs, right? Nobody does it in the playoffs. At this point, everything that we're doing needs to be geared towards the postseason. We're already a good regular season team. We've established that. Okay, we've established that. When it comes to regular season, we are one of the best teams every year. But when we get to the playoffs, we need those guys that can actually step up and play. And we're not looking to get those guys. We keep saying we're not going to pay anybody that's proven and we know can go out there and make plays for us. Because we don't want to do that. That's not what we do. We don't want to trade for anybody. We don't want to give up draft picks. We build through the draft. And when we build through the draft, we get guys that's always next year. Now, they're not ready this year. Next year. You know?
Giovanni Long says, I'm excited that Ed Reed is coming back to mentor Starks. We should be excited about that. No, you shouldn't. That'll mean a single thing. It means absolutely nothing that he's coming back to mentor Malachi Starks.
It does. If Starks has it, he has it. Like Ed Reed's not. I mean, that's fine.
He is not going to imbue Malachi Starks with his playmaking ability.
Right.
Well, who's coming back to mentor Orr this year? He needs that.
Oh, Chuck Pagano.
Oh, they took him from the Pat McAfee show.
Yeah. Giovanni says my Panthers defense is trash. By the way, they are, and they've still been to the Super Bowl more recently than you.
Damn.
So
you thought you was cooking.
Congrats on that.
Yo, and by the way, we get to the Panthers here in a minute. Like, we are just as critical with the Panthers, right? Like, we're just as critical. B isn't sitting here saying they're gonna win a Super Bowl, right? The Panthers are in a different place than the Ravens.
Yes, they are in 2025.
Okay, there you go. But but they're in a different place. They're rebuilding and they're making a lot of good moves towards building that team up to competing again.
Yeah.
Right. And we talk about that. So like when B gives an A for his team, it's because they're getting, top players or best players at picks that they need. Granted, they needed a lot.
The thing is, Carolina, they almost. I mean, you can always make a bad pick, but you can almost not make a bad pick. I gave them an A because they prioritized getting help for Bryce Young with Teteroa McMillan. And then they came back and they got very highly rated edge rushers, 2 of them. who they probably shouldn't have been able to get. But, they were aggressive. They traded up in both rounds to go and get the guys that they wanted in Scorton and Princely. I'm still not even going to attempt to say his last name.
Uma Milan.
There you go. You said it, not me. But, I wouldn't have given them an A if they sat there at 8 and said, you know what we're going to do at 8? We're going to take like, a third round running back, like something that just didn't fit. Like if you're sitting there and you're like, oh well,
a tight end.
Yeah, I mean they still need tight end, but I wouldn't have loved a tight end at 8. I would not have loved a tight end at 8.
Okay. No, go finish your thought. Yeah. I have a question for the chat.
Right, like if you come back in the second round and they take a backup O lineman instead of the edge rusher that they need or something like that, then you're not necessarily getting an A. They had a lot of needs, but they manipulated the draft very well.
So let me ask, because yes, they traded back into the second round. They got both of those guys in the second round, right? Or
no, they got Princely in the third.
Ravens fans. I mean, anybody in the chat. Like, I'm just curious. I'm not saying right, whether it's right or wrong. I'm just curious. What would you rather have? Would you have Mike Green, who I think is going to be really good, or if you got to get Princely and Nick Scorton, would you rather have those two or Mike Green? I'm just curious because I'm asking because I know Scorton at least was somebody that Ravens fans were mentioning that they would like to get in the first round, right? So somebody that looks like he could be pretty good. Princely was also kind of mentioned there too, late first or second round pick. Would you rather get two guys that you're high on, or the one? And this isn't to say that we made a bad decision with Mike Green. I'm not saying that, but I'm just curious.
Mike Green is a better prospect than both of them. That's true, but unless you're talking about a Hall of Fame player, getting more than one is better than having one.
Yeah,
typically, especially on defense.
And I didn't have any points. I was just curious, but because when I saw it, I was like, man, like they got two edge rushers that could end up being starters for them, and I mean, Tedderoa could be that guy, man.
Hey, you can have Clowney back.
We'll take Tedderoa off your hands. You ain't gonna use him.
Nah.
Tedderoa looks like he makes Xavier Legette look like a 5th round pick.
Xavier Legette should have been a 5th round pick. That's neither here nor there, though. That's neither here nor there.
Xavier Legette. I mean, look, obviously he's got time to grow, and he didn't do everything wrong. It's just finishing with the catches.
He did do a lot of things wrong.
I
dropped a lot of passes.
I said he didn't do everything wrong.
Yeah,
but Tedderoa, McMillan, who does he remind you of? He reminds me of Mike Evans.
Yeah, that's a comment a lot of people have given. I can't see Mike Evans because the dude is just kind of goofy. Like I've seen him, not on the field, like giving interviews and stuff like that. So I can't even see Mike Evans at this point. But like that's the type of player. He's a big guy who can make those contested catches and everything, get down the field. He's a fast guy, but doesn't really seem like it necessarily when you're watching him. So yeah, I mean that's what they were going for.
I mean,
hopefully it works out much better.
Even if he's Drake London, that's a lot better than Legette at this point. No offense.
Everything's better than Legette at this point, but I mean,
I like Drake London though. And look, shout out to RG. RG, you are the first person to mention Adisa Isaac. Clap it up. That's what I'm talking about, right? Because I was wondering why nobody's talking about 3rd round pick Adisa Isaac. We just drafted the man.
Because he ain't see the field, that's why.
He's still there, though. He's still human.
Yeah, but is he going to play, though? Like, we draft a bunch of guys.
He needs to play. Like, why do we? Why?
He ain't die, Adrian. Like, he's there. He's good.
Like, why do we keep letting EDC get away with throwing away picks like that? We draft somebody in the 3rd round, and they never see the field. We don't think twice about it. We draft 5 people in the 4th round. They never see the field, or 1 or 2 might see the field, and the rest just whatever. We had how many six? Is it 5 6th-round picks this
Yeah,
year?
I think it was 5. Yeah,
5 6th-round picks. How, like, you cool with that?
I like
Like,
Wester.
I like Wester too. I like Wester. They like Peoples. Peoples was drafted in the 6th round, right?
Yeah.
I like them. Are they actually going to make the team? Are they going to contribute to the team? I don't know. But our history says no, they're not going to. Right? So like we just okay with just all these draft picks he's using, and most of them don't make the team. Shout out to the Purple Rain podcast. Uh, 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 they put out a stat the other day. It was the hit rate on the draft picks. I think it was like 22%, something like that. Listen, me and B, we looked at that league average. This is back when we did our audio podcast. I think the league average for hit rate on draft picks is like 30 something percent. Right.
And I want to say a shout out to Suge, who did donate a bit ago. The animation in play, I think, is the scene that we're on. So I apologize for that. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Suge.
And he wants Adrian to apologize for us not acknowledging that.
I'm not sorry. You know what I'm sorry about, Shook? I'm sorry that you guys didn't draft this man behind me, Shador Sanders.
And muted. See,
They
I
should have drafted
got
Shador.
I got your back, Suge. I got your back. All right.
They should have
I'm
drafted
not
Shador.
gonna let that fly. All right. I know that's hurtful enough that you didn't get him. You don't need to hear that from Adrian, who's out here drafting safeties in the 1st round.
I ain't agree with that either.
Hey,
You know,
okay.
I'm fair. I'm fair.
Here we go. I defer to Coach. That's on coaching, bro. That's what Kev T says. We're talking about all of these draft picks not hitting. Well, do you see them pop up anywhere else?
Hey, Ben Bredesen did. Hey, Ben Bredesen is starting in Tampa.
And guess what? That's
5 years later.
That's on coaching. Whose job is it to get rid of the coach?
Yeah, that would be Eric.
That's the GM. That's
They're
the GM.
they're best friends and neighbors, so you know that's not happening.
And I don't want to hear, oh, but Shotty won't let him do it. Well, then EC shouldn't have taken a job where he doesn't have control over that. Right? I can't give you if he is absolved of all responsibility, he gets no credit. If he gets no blame, he gets no credit. Same thing because y'all do it with Harbaugh too. Every time we talk about Harbaugh, it ain't Harbaugh's fault. The players got to play. All right. Well, if Harbaugh's not responsible for anything, he doesn't get credit for anything. Right. So we have EDC and Harbaugh who are nothing. they're
Just
nothing
cruising.
to the team.
Just cruising.
Right? Yeah, just cruising. See, there you go. I already preempted you, Kev. Be shot. Shai's not giving up his mistress. I already knew you were gonna go there. I know all the talking points. Okay, I know all the talking points. If EDC can't fire Harbaugh and he can't do anything about Harbaugh messing up his picks, then EDC needs to find a different job. He should not be in that position. But while you're in that position, you're the GM. That's part of your duties. And if you're not responsible for these mishaps, then you don't get credit for the good stuff. What are you laughing at, B?
No, I'm laughing at shit. He was sending a message. I told him I'm not reading that.
Does he think the Steelers have a quarterback? Yes or no?
No.
Okay.
He's eyes wide open on that.
We spent a good amount of time.
It's time to move on. Yes.
But look, listen, y'all. We got 80 people in here. Hit that like button. If you're new in here, hit that subscribe button. I got, speaking of Shador Sanders, I got a Shador Sanders video that I'm going to put out here probably tomorrow. It should have went out today, but I didn't have time. Also, LBHTShow.com. Go over there right now. Sign up for the newsletter. The newsletter is coming out this week. All right. It's going to have all of our information on there. It's going to have links to stories. It's going to have information on, when Coach puts out videos, head note from the Road Pod. All right. If you guys don't know, we're all friends. We work together. All right, so we promote each other's stuff. So I'm putting all that stuff in the newsletter. Even Deep Cover Podcast when they do their bi-monthly episode, they we'll have that. You will know about it. It will be in the newsletter when it happens. Okay, so subscribe,
And we're
man.
going to be doing some fun stuff like trivia and things like that. And we're discussing the idea of bringing back prizes for trivia winners.
Yeah, we still got to figure out those logistics, but for now, we'll do trivia or polls and things like that. It's going to be a little interactive. So, LBHTShow.com. You can also get some dope merch over there. Okay, you like what I'm wearing? You like what B's wearing? You can get that over there on the shop.
I don't know why you screamed anime in the chat, but we're going to move right along.
Wait, what did I miss?
I don't know.
Anime. What's
Nitro
anime?
talking about anime.
Oh.
All right, we're gonna very briefly guess your thoughts on the NBA playoffs. Lakers in 9. I think there's a real good shot at that. They've got Minnesota's number up until they need to have their number, and then they lose it, and they are down 3-1. But I mean, tonight's it's a new series, right? One game at a time.
Listen. We gotta see what they do tonight. Like all these games have been close games. The Timberwolves, they've done a good job closing out. The Lakers had every opportunity to close out these games, right? They just haven't done it. Can they still win the series? Yeah, it's not looking good though. But man, look, in today's NBA, you need a bench, right? Like you have to have a bench, and they have to work on that. LeBron, he shouldn't be able to do things that he does at this age. You cannot keep relying on that. And Luka, look, he's a great player, but like there's still another gear for him, and I think that's why the Mavs were trying to say, he needs to reach that, and they weren't sure if he was going to reach that. They still should have kept him. But no, it's not looking good right now. And congrats if they win to Minnesota, because I say this all the time. I told Adrian this earlier. The NBA is a grown man's league, right? You have these young stars, and they have these good teams. A lot of times they still end up losing because you have the old guards don't want to give it up. You have to take it from them. And that's what Minnesota is doing right now.
Yeah, that's probably actually the best thing for the league is Minnesota winning this series. And I know that Luka is younger, obviously, but he's more the future of the Lakers. And you're right, they absolutely need these young teams to step up and beat LeBron and beat Steph. Kevin didn't make it, but the older guys. Houston, they're not doing the league any favors by getting knocked out by the Warriors, right? Indiana over there, they knocked out Milwaukee. Old man Giannis, he coming to LA next year. We're gonna run it back with Luka, LeBron, and Giannis. He ain't going to.
Good.
Well, I blame Shannon Sharp. It's his fault the Lakers aren't doing what they need to do right now.
They need to distance themselves from Shannon as well, publicly. But that's all right.
Oh, Shay. I still got thoughts on that whole thing, man. We'll talk about that on the overtime show. You want to hear us talk about Shannon Sharp and whatever you want to discuss? You guys.
No, don't do that. What we're talking about on the overtime show is 100 humans versus one gorilla. Get your plans together. Come into the overtime show and convince us of who you think is going to win. If you're picking the humans, you're wrong. But I want to hear your plan, your battle plan anyway, your plan of attack. How you plan on taking? I
specifically said it in the description. We're not talking about it. Okay.
And yet here we are.
I mean, do the humans get weapons?
Hey, no, it's hand to hand.
Overtime show.
It's hand to hand, and you write down your whatever your tactics are, and you bring it to the overtime show.
Patreon.com/LBHT Show. That's where you can find the overtime show. It's going to happen right after this show.
Jeremy, I should ban you for that. That's terrible.
What do you say? Fakers, bakers, salt shakers, wolves, and 5. So, we can save for court of public opinion what happened with Giannis and Haliburton's dad. But who's Indiana going to face in the second round?
I gotta see how the bracket is set up. It may be
They faced the one. They faced Cleveland.
Oh, they're going Cleveland. Oh, well, that's
they were the four, right? Yeah,
I think that's a good matchup. Yeah. Now it looks like Cleveland will destroy him based on what they did to Miami. Was that a historic game? Like, has anybody ever lost by 55 before?
I think it was the most, but I'm not 100% sure. Not 100% sure. Oh wow, the Rockets are beating the hell out of Golden State. Ooh. It is halftime, 76-49.
Oh.
Did
they get tired?
Hendo, thoughts? I saw you typing Warriors in the chat earlier when we were talking about the Lakers. So, thoughts on what's going on right
now? Okay, all right.
Hendo said,
how you feel about the Thunder?
Second largest margin.
Second largest margin. Okay. B, do you think the Thunder can win it all?
No, not this year. I don't think that. I do subscribe to your theory that it is a older man's league, and they're still too young. They're a great team. I think they'll make their run, but I don't think they're going to win a title.
Okay, they're good enough. Lord, they're good. They are really good.
I got them in the finals this year. I don't know if they'll win. I got Boston, OKC. I think Boston and Cleveland is the Eastern Conference Finals at this point. I don't know who's going to face OKC in the conference finals, but whoever it is, I think that they have the edge just due to youth. And SGA is just so good, man. I mean, that Denver series, though, if Denver goes on to beat the Clippers and OKC faces them, that's going to be a series. I could see that going 7 games.
All right. There you go. I think we pretty much wrapped that up. But we're not done talking NBA. We got a story real quick for Court of Public Opinion. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a real court, but it is the court that you need. Are you ready, B? Did I catch you off guard?
No, I'm very off guard, and we got to go. We just going to have to go like this. I don't think I can get to the... I don't think we have...
Do you want me... I can pull it up. You want me to pull it up?
No, I'm saying I don't think we have the scene set up. Hold up.
I got it.
No. Hold on. Okay.
You sure?
Here we go.
All right. He's got it.
I got it now. All right. This is happening. Okay. All right. Here we go.
You should just let me do it. All rise. Court is now in session. What we got here, B? We got Haliburton's dad.
Listen, we need some more interesting criminals because we've got another open and shut case here. Tyrese Haliburton's father versus Giannis Antetokounmpo. If you did not see, the Milwaukee Bucks allowed the game to go into overtime. I believe Haliburton hit the shot to send it to overtime. They get into overtime, and Gary Trent is just absolutely on fire. He started the game 0 for 7 from 3, and he made 7 of his next 8, including, I think it was 3 in the overtime period, to put them up 118-111 with 40 seconds left in the game. Fast forward 40 seconds, they lose 119-118, and they're out of the playoffs. And Giannis is standing on the court wondering what happened to him. And Tyrese Haliburton's father walks up to tell him what happened to him, waving a little flag in his face, talking about, that's what the F we do, and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And as somebody on Twitter pointed out in the video replay, you can see the gears turning in Giannis's head of whether or not he's going to have to beat the hell out of this dude. Because initially he doesn't even know who it is. He finds out later.
He said he thought it was a fan.
Yeah, he finds out later it was Haliburton's father and all that. But he had a interview in the press conference where he said he didn't like that. He thought it was completely inappropriate to have that, his father coming out to him, cursing at him and everything after the game. And Giannis is 100% right. I don't have a problem with family and stuff like that getting on the court. Go to your son. Why are you going to Giannis? Go find your son and congratulate your son. Don't get up in somebody else's face and start talking trash like you did something.
Adrian, what you think?
It's funny that, with all the dads out there, you got T. Morant, and before you had LeVar Ball, it's John Haliburton that we're talking about right now. I didn't even know
I didn't see
John
that
Haliburton existed, man. Like, that wasn't on my bingo card at all. Like, I disagree totally with what he did. You should be excited that you won a series, your son won, but it's like Giannis thought it was. I thought it was a fan. He is a fan. Just because your son plays in the NBA, that doesn't make you a coach. It doesn't make you part of the front office. It doesn't make you're not on the team, bro. Like, bottom line, chill out, celebrate with your son. You deserve to do that. But to taunt an NBA player, a future Hall of Famer, an NBA champion, because you won a first round series, they acted like they won a Super Bowl, man. This is why Indiana is not winning next round. They have no shot against Cleveland. They know it. That's why they're celebrating so hard. They might as well took the Gatorade out and started pouring it on the coach, because this is close as they're getting to going to the NBA Finals. So congratulations, John Morant. But one thing I did not agree with, John Haliburton, he's acting like T. Morant. This got me confused. But
that was a great finish.
Yeah.
that was a great shot.
It was great. It was a great shot. And congratulations to the Indiana Pacers. They're a good team, a good young team. I like watching them play. But I did disagree with Tyrese Haliburton. I know your dad was wrong, but to come out in the media and say dad was wrong, that's not how I rock in my family. I would have said, my dad's right. And then behind closed doors, I would have told him he was wrong. So, I don't think he should have said publicly that he disagreed with his dad's actions, but I understand it because his dad was 100% wrong.
And to your point, Giannis reminded them that he is, in fact, a champion and they are not.
He did say that. I'm disappointed in both of your answers. I can't believe, especially you, AD, especially you. What happened to make basketball tough again? Okay,
it's so funny because right now I saw somebody was doing an article or whatever. Like, has the physicality gone too far? Like, I told you, y'all didn't want what you thought you wanted.
Like, why? Like, what you mean? What you mean disappointed? Like, I'm disappointed in Giannis. Why didn't you just punch him?
Come on, man. This is not the malice at the palace, man.
What I mean, would Barkley put up with that? Would Jordan put up with that? Could you wave a towel in Jordan's face?
It's not the 90s. It's not the 90s, man. Come on.
But I thought we wanted the 90s back. What happened? Why can't Giannis just punch him? He doesn't belong on the court. waving a towel in his face, just punch him. Like, hey, get this fan up out of here. All right.
So what happens if
that's Haliburton's dad? Good.
What happens if
next time I see
Giannis
Haliburton, I got one for him too. What you don't want? You don't want that?
What happens if Giannis punches him? He dies. Probably right there.
Yeah, he'd be hospitalized for a while. I don't think he dies. It'd be a little over dramatic there.
Well,
okay.
It depends if he puts everything into it. Right? Like, is he gonna punch him the way
open hand slap him then?
Gorilla?
Just slap him really hard. Let him know what time it is. I mean, he'll still be hospitalized over it. But hey, man, look, you want the smoke? You got it. Okay. That man doesn't belong there. I do. Like we talking about 100 men versus gorilla, not one man versus one gorilla. You in there with a gorilla and you out there waving, you know what I'm saying? Like you trying to agitate him. All right. You get what you get.
That's a big dude, man. They call a dude the Greek freak. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't because of what he do in the bedroom, man. That's a big dude, man. Like, chill out, bro. Like, you don't want no smoke. And your son, he don't want it with Giannis if it comes down. Giannis is a nice guy.
Hell no.
People talk to him crazy because that he has a gregarious personality. Seems like he gets along with pretty much everybody, but don't get it twisted. Like, a one-on-one fight, it's not too many dudes in the NBA that I would take over Giannis.
Yeah, and Giannis did say, hey, look, they talked after the game. Now Tyrese said he didn't even see what happened until somebody showed him the video in the locker room. And I'm fine with this answer, man. Like, yes, I'm with you, Adrian. Like, keep family stuff behind closed doors. But his dad, like he put him in a tough spot. Like you're embarrassing your son there. You're embarrassing your son. You didn't belong out there. And I'm okay with him saying, hey, I didn't agree with it. Like, he didn't really go in on his dad. He's like, hey, I just didn't agree with it. We talked about it or whatever. That's pretty much all I can say about it. You know, I think him and Giannis talked about it too. I think Giannis said that the two of them they're good.
Yeah.
Of course, there's nothing else you can do but apologize. Say, hey, I'm sorry for my dad, man. You know, and I'm sure Giannis, once he cooled down, understand. But like, I would really, he shouldn't have to have this conversation with his dad. That's the sad thing, right? Like, he should know this already. But damn, man, that's a tough loss for them. Like you put it all out there. You're in overtime. You think you're gonna win, and now you're going home. Man, you can't just jump right in front of a player's face.
Yeah. And Ferris is saying if Tyrese did that, I'm okay with it, but family should stay out of it. I'm not okay with that.
I'm not okay with that.
Either. Look, if it wasn't the elimination game, I'm like, okay, you can talk your trash, but the series is over. You've beaten them. Just go shake their hand and go celebrate. Yep. You don't need to be talking trash at that point. The series is done. If he had been talking trash after game 1, 2, 3, okay, fine, whatever. You're in the middle of it, but it's done now, right? You talk trash to him for what?
Yeah. This is an open shut case, man. Like,
yeah,
John Haliburton's guilty. You know,
it's not. That's not. His name is Tyrese Haliburton's dad.
Tyrese Haliburton's dad's guilty. All right, we'll give him. We want to give him time served. We'll give him time served. All right, just don't do it again, man.
No, I'm giving him a fine, just like the Falcons defensive coordinator, so he can go ask his son for the money.
No.
That was gonna be the court of public opinion tonight. Then I saw that video.
I wanted to hear that. I wanted you to go into that. You should do a 2-for-1 special on that and go to Old Brick, whatever the kid's name is.
I'll tell you what. Patreon.com/LBHT Show. We're going to discuss that on the overtime show because we have to do some questions real quick and then we got to get up out of here, man. We'll talk about that on the overtime show. If you want us to discuss that defensive coordinator's son for the Falcons prank calling Shedeur Sanders
and others, by the way, because it wasn't just him.
Yes.
I believe it was other people got a hold of numbers. Abdul Carter got prank called. Tyler Warren got prank called, and some other players as well.
Yeah. So if you want to talk about this menace, all right, come over to the overtime show. Patreon.com/LBHT Show. All right, real quick, we'll do submitted questions, and then we'll get up out of here.
Okay, so I didn't put them in the banners because I did not realize that we had actual posts there. But I'm just going to read these off.
No. Switch the scene.
I'm just going to read these off because we got to get up out of here. Just going to read these off because it's a pain in the ass to switch the scenes.
Hey, man.
Hold up. I don't even see that. No, that's not it.
Adrian, real quick, let the people know where they can find you.
Find me on YouTube, PressStart410, or also at PStart410. Dropping a new episode this week, man. Y'all know what it is.
All right. Look at that beautiful animation, man.
I know. I timed it perfectly right in between y'all talking too. That was a beautiful thing. Proud of myself. All right, one and Rob sent in a question. Thank you very much. He says, "What's the ideal starting players for the Panthers on both sides of the ball to have the best chance to win?" You want me to name 22 players, bro? No.
Wait, what's the question?
The ideal starting players for the Panthers on both sides of the ball to have the best chance at winning. I'm not naming 22 players. All right, listen. Okay. Ideally, you know, they brought back the entire starting offensive line. So ideally, those guys stay healthy. Obviously, Bryce. You got Teteroa, McMillan. Ideally, Hunter Renfrow has something left. You know, he sat out last year due to health issues. He's back now with Carolina. So ideally, he's in that slot. And again, ideally, Xavier Legette learned how to catch, and he's starting on the other side. And then you've got, obviously, Chuba Hubbard. And I'm going to say, ideally, Trevor Etienne beats out Rico Dowdle for the backup running back spot. And then on the other side, you got Derek Brown, A'Shawn Robinson. I'm fine with those guys being the starters, kind of in the interior. A'Shawn and Tershawn. At edge, it's kind of tough to say, you know, because they have three guys at edge who are, you know, either rookies or very young. And Pat Jones, he hasn't played a whole lot. I'm gonna say ideally Nick Scorton and Pat Jones are starting with Wanham and Princely, rotating in, because I would very much like for one of the young guys to beat out DJ Wanham because he's not a great player. At corner, I mean, I feel like they haven't really addressed corner. They brought in a guy, an undrafted free agent. Hopefully he makes the team, but it's JC and Mike Jackson as the starting corners right now, and then Trevor Morig or Trayvon Morig, and ideally Lathan Ransom starting at safety, because again, ideally you would like for the rookies to be better than the kind of vet minimum type players that they're bringing in.
All right.
Now, Jay, I'm just not. I don't want to. I want to read this the way you wrote it, Jay. But how many quote head top pause catches do you think Tet will have in his rookie season? I'm going to say 0, Jay, just because the way you wrote that. 0. Jose and Adrian, are you happy that Mike Green will force Owe and or Ajabo off the team?
No.
No, it needs to be a combination of one of both of them, right? I mean, Ajabo, he's not forcing Ajabo off the team. Ajabo's gone. It didn't matter. It didn't matter if we drafted the edge or not. Ajabo wasn't coming back. No, I think you need to keep Owe.
Yeah, and like it's the whole thing about the criticism of EDC. You can't keep drafting edges in the second round and they not make the team, buddy, or stick around, at least do their rookie contract. But we want to see a tandem of I can't speak for all Ravens fans, but it would be nice to see Owe and Green both be double digit sack guys. That way the back end of the defense doesn't have to be caught on the island all the time, man. We need all of our corners, all of our safeties in coverage, other than Hamilton, because he ain't really a safety. He's like a hybrid linebacker type safety.
Because look, be real about it. Be honest about it. Y'all don't want Owe on the team. Ojabo not going to be on the team. We don't expect Adisa Isaac to be the starter there. What do we do at edge next year?
Van Noy for like the 4th year in a row. That's
Van
Noy
will be gone. Let's be real. What are we really going? Are we going to sign a
draft another one?
We're going to draft one. Are we going to draft one? Are we going to draft our starter in the second round or third round? No,
second round. Yeah.
No, first round. We'll use our first round pick to draft the edge. I ain't with that.
Listen, okay, yeah, Love West. Hot take, that prank call was good prank call and pretty funny. People are just making it a big deal because it's Sanders. Yeah, it's childish but funny. That's what a prank call is.
There's nothing funny about it.
It was not funny at all. Did you see the video?
Let me ask you this.
It wasn't even executed well. It was not funny at all. It wasn't believable, and like it was just dumb.
Let me ask you this. If you're in between jobs, you need a job, you're interviewing a couple places, and you get a call for a good paying job, and somebody's like, yeah, you got the job, congratulations, and you're pumped up just to find out it was a prank call. Funny?
No.
Nah, it ain't funny, man.
No. Next question. If not for the big money that Lamar Jackson will earn now and in the future, with or without the Ravens, why should he stay with Baltimore? I don't see any results changing in the playoffs with his coaching staff and front office.
Hey, that was from Eric L.
Eric L, yes, sir.
Shout out to Eric L, man. Appreciate you, man. A big time supporter of the show, man. We appreciate you. Now, he's asked different variations of this question, and they're good questions. And these are questions that nobody wants to think of right now. But the reality is, if we have another disappointing end of the season, right, in postseason, that if it hasn't already, that has to start creeping into his mind of what are we doing with this team? It's the same thing every year. Nothing's changing, right? There has to be a shakeup when things aren't working. You're close. The goal is to win a Super Bowl. And if you're not getting there, you can't just sit there and say, well, we're winning a lot of games, right? That's good enough. a player like Lamar Jackson who cares about his legacy, who really wants to win a Super Bowl, that's not enough. He is improving himself every year. He's finding ways to reinvent himself and become even better every year. He's holding everybody to that standard. The coach needs to hold himself to that standard. The GM needs to hold himself to that standard. If you're not bringing in players that are playing up to his level, and you're just wasting away his years there, he has to at some point consider going somewhere else if they're not going to make the change.
Well, I would counter that by saying, first of all, personally, I would love to see Lamar retire as a Raven with multiple Super Bowl championships. I think every true Ravens fan would love to see that. I think the one thing that should hold him here is the Ravens were the only team 2 years ago that were willing to keep him and pay him. The fact that every general manager, every organization in the league had an opportunity to at least offer him a contract, and nobody did. There were stories coming out of Atlanta saying we're not interested off top. Then they went and paid Kirk Cousins $180 million to be their backup this season behind Michael Penix. So I think Lamar has to look at it kind of that way. The league proved twice that every team in the league doesn't value him for whatever reason. I don't know what it is. He's not the poster child. He's not the golden boy. He doesn't speak the King's English or Queen's English, as a lot of people like to say about him. But that's the reason why I feel like he should stay with the Ravens, because these other teams have proven that they don't value him and don't want him.
I mean, the Ravens proved that they don't value him also.
Yeah.
By dragging out that whole contract thing for a year and publicly talking about how he's not worth as much as Josh Allen and Dak Prescott, and the other owners coming out, that was a collusion thing, saying, hey, we're not going to give you a fully guaranteed contract. If Baltimore had removed the tag from him, or if he just said, you know what, I'm not signing a deal in Baltimore and I like legit want to be traded, there are a bunch of teams that would have been after him. But I don't think there's any good reason for him to stay in Baltimore. He's already seen for 7 years now that they are not going to change. And they have no interest in firing John Harbaugh. They have no interest in firing Eric DaCosta. So there's no reason to believe that this is going to change. And you're just at this point, you're just relying on essentially luck to get you through to the Super Bowl and winning a championship.
Yeah, I really think. I mean, I said it last year that if they lose the same way in playoffs, then Harbaugh needs to be gone. But seriously, this year, I think if they go out the same way in the playoffs, that conversation is going to be had one way or another, right? Lamar's going to say, "Hey, like, what are we doing that's going to be different this time?" And if they're like, same thing, I think he's going to really start to say, "Hey, I need to look at other options here."
All right, we got one question left. It's from our guy Jeremy. Thank you very much, Jeremy. He says, who do you think is the Browns' starting quarterback in Week 1, and who holds on to it the longest? I'm going to say that Week 1 it's Joe Flacco, and Joe Flacco is not going to hold on to it the longest. Spoiler alert right there. I think that Shedeur is going to hold on to it the longest. Well, actually, hold on. Whoever holds on to it the longest is going to be the worst one that they can justify playing. So I'm going to say Dylan Gabriel.
Oh,
because they want Arch Manning.
Well, but here's the beauty of it, because this is the Browns, and though I don't believe in curses, they are truly cursed. It will be Shedeur Sanders. He's going to play great, and they're going to fall in love with them, and they're going to say, you know what, cancel those plans for Arch Manning. We got Shedeur here. He's a legit star. We can win with this man. We are throwing our chips in on Shedeur Sanders, and Shedeur says, I'm not playing anymore. I'm holding out because you drafted me way too low, and I don't need the money. I've proven to you that I can play. Shame on you for not drafting me earlier, and I'm just going to sit out. You know what? I might retire. Like it sounds ridiculous, but this is the Browns. Ridiculous things happen to the Browns for decades. This will happen.
I think that Joe Flacco will be the week 1 starter. I think that virtually every quarterback on their roster, besides Deshaun Watson, will see the field this season. It's going to be a Game of Thrones like situation where somebody gets their throat cut and then the next one is up. And we'll see Shador, we'll see Gabriel, we'll see Kenny Pickett, the ghost of Kenny Pickett, or whatever he has left. And I think that Shador will end up being traded to the Dallas Cowboys because that's what's best for business, and that's what I see happening. And I think Gabriel will be the starter that Cleveland needs and deserves to have because they need to stink because they're the Browns, and they've been terrible for 25 years. They had 40 quarterbacks in the last 25 years, bro. So I see that continuing.
Calm down on Dylan, all right? Dylan's a big
Eli.
kid.
I think that's what teams were afraid was going to happen with Dion, which might help push him down the draft. I wish he would have said they would have said, "Don't draft me at this point. I want to just go to the team that I want to go to." Just go undrafted if you're gonna go that far down. Yes, Kev. He says, "Damn, on a rookie deal." Yes, and you can't negotiate your rookie deal. It is what it is. But if he ends up being really good, maybe he plays next year, right? And if he solidifies himself this year and next year as a good starting quarterback, there ain't no way him and Dion ain't gonna let him play out the rest of that contract on that deal, right? He'll sit there and be like, when you guys change the rules or you cut him and you resign him, cool, but we ain't playing on that. Right? You should have drafted him earlier. He was projected to go in the first round. Second round, we could understand. But, was it 4th, 5th round he went? That's, if he goes out there and plays like a first rounder, he plays like a starter, there is no way. I wouldn't let my son do that. If I was in Dion's position, I'm a millionaire already. We don't need any of that money. He's a millionaire just on his own, the money that he made in college. Nah. Nope, we ain't playing for pennies. Sorry. Well, you can cut him and we'll give you preferential treatment since you did draft us. But you need to cut me and then try to re-sign me.
But this,
I'm not sure.
But I think this illustrates a greater point to me. I think the NFL's Players Association is nowhere near strong enough. They're not close to the NBA in terms of the players being able to have the leverage they need to be in the situations that they would like to see themselves in. This slotted deal thing is garbage. You should be able to negotiate the length of your contract coming out of college, I believe, because the NFL teams have all of the leverage. They can do whatever they want. They want to pick you in the 5th round and stash you on the bench. They want to make you change positions. They've done this to countless players time and time again. There were a lot of black quarterbacks that 15, 20 years ago never got the opportunity because somebody thought that they were a better cornerback or wide receiver. And people don't see the racism that occurs because they say, well, Cam Ward got drafted number 1 overall. But Cam Ward wasn't Shador Sanders. He didn't have a famous father. He didn't have a famous father that turned down the NFL and the coaching opportunity. And he didn't come with that cachet, that flashiness, and that household name and that brand. And I think the NFL was threatened by that. And it's a shame because if he were Peyton Manning or Eli Manning or, Johnny Manziel or Baker Mayfield, all the guys that we've seen before in similar situations, the NFL didn't seem to have a problem with those guys.
Yeah.
Well, the contract thing, that's not going to change because that's what the players want. Like the players wanted that in there because that's them rookies are stealing money from them. That's how they looked at it at the time because guys come in. Sam Bradford had I think it was like $80 million guaranteed in his rookie deal. And Sam Bradford was Sam Bradford.
That's when they changed it, though, right?
He wasn't the worst, but he wasn't the number 1 pick kind of player. And all the NFL veterans said, "Nah, man, put them on these slotted contracts and pay us the money." And the NFL owners were like, "Yeah, we'll put them on these slotted contracts."
They could be a lot smaller, though.
Yeah. All right, we want to get out of here. That's the last one, right?
Yes.
Attitude Pop says, "Can I ask y'all a question? Why LeBron haters
Yes,
say
you
he's
can
on
ask us a question if you submit it properly for
Yeah.
submitted questions. Attitude.
submitted?" But I just want to say, he says, "Can I ask y'all a question? Why all LeBron haters say he's using PEDs or Balco or juicing, but never say it about Curry or KD when they're old? Blah blah blah." Okay, listen. You answered your question with that first line.
Yeah.
LeBron haters. Okay, like if they don't hate you, they're not going to say that about you. Like that's just what it is, and they hate on him because he's great. Like they don't. I mean, I don't hear anybody saying Tristan Thompson's on PEDs. Okay, sorry for the shots, Tristan Thompson, but you get what I'm saying.
He catching
All right.
strays. What did Tristan do to you, bro?
Nothing, absolutely nothing. Okay, I got no malice in my heart for Tristan Thompson whatsoever. But man, people hate on LeBron, man. That's just what it is. Like that's you answered your question.
And also,
All right,
KD is 6'11" and 168
130
pounds.
pounds.
He ain't take. If he taking PEDs, he need to fire whoever he got them from.
All right, y'all. We getting out of here, man. Great show, man. Appreciate y'all coming through. We still got over 60 people in here, man. Hit that like button on your way out. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. We're dropping more videos this week. The newsletter comes out this week. Go over to LBHTShow.com to sign up. If you want to hang out with us some more and talk some man versus gorilla
100
nonsense.
humans versus one gorilla. But definitely go to LBHTShow.com. It is, in fact, the most anticipated newsletter in human history.
Facts. In fact, there was a waiting list for a very long time. So, get on it. Patreon.com/LBHT Show. That's where you can find us next. Patreon members, get ready. The Overtime Show is starting right now. Everybody else, have a great night, and we will see you next time. Peace.